Welcome back. I figured I would show the result first and then talk. So here we go. Alright, so what's going on here? Let's have a look. Alright, so a little backstory. The car has a pared down electrical system, significantly pared down. That was part of the idea of converting the Scirocco to all-wheel drive, but also having it simple and not weigh too much. And the first battery I put in during the build was a full size, and with its mounting tray, it weighed 41 pounds. And I didn't really mind that, except that my brother-in-law's late model Impala needed a battery, and we saw an opportunity for him to use my battery. It's an AGM. It's the first one I've ever bought. I was 4 years old, and I figured put it in his car and see how much longer it lasts, and then I can decide whether to continue to buy AGMs for our normal cars or whether to go back to just lead acid. But they'll have a 41 pound deficit in this car, which I filled with this smaller AGM battery. It's also an Odyssey, like the original one that I used was, but it's quite a bit smaller. And with the tray that I made for it, weighs a little over 15 pounds. So I've got about 25 pounds out of the car. Wasn't ready to make the leap to lithium at 5 times the price just for a few more pounds off. This one was half the price of the full-size AGM, which was over $400 shipped here to the house, and this one was $200 with the optional SAE posts that I included. I did not buy the Odyssey battery mount. It was almost $200 and would have needed modification anyway, so I just used some of my old leftover scrap steel to make my own. And you can see the after-run coolant pump is running. It does that for about 10 minutes. And that was sort of the big unknown to me, in addition to whether the car would be able to crank comfortably, which you saw. It does crank comfortably. The other question I had was whether this little battery could run the after-run coolant pump for 10-15 minutes, and it does so comfortably. So the battery won't die while the car's sitting in the parking lot with the engine off while you're running errands, running the pump. So not to oversell things, I wouldn't use this on a car that sits outside in the cold, or a car with a huge sound system or a lot of electrical drains, and I think it's prudent to keep this on a battery tender when it's not in use. And I'll see how long it lasts and report back if there's any long-term concerns. But so far, I'm real happy with this. So as far as how I did the tray, you can see there are a lot of different ways to do this. It's basically an angle iron base. And it's got 4 bolts, 2 in front here, and there are 2 more behind. Those CAD plated bolts. And then this upper triangulating strap that holds the battery in place and also holds the positive distribution box, whatever we call it. And the way I did the bolts, you can see the tray is sitting on standoffs about 2 inches tall, and that's because under the battery there's some ground connections. Sorry about the focus here, I don't know what's happening. And to get the holes drilled properly into the base tray, I just used a piece of cardboard. I put studs in the holes in the frame rail that stuck out far enough that I could just press a piece of cardboard onto the top of the studs and make witness marks. Then I just made the battery tray on the piece of cardboard. And that way I knew the standoffs and the bolts would fit properly. What I call CAD design, cardboard aided design. And then the only other change is the intake box was anchored to the original battery tray, and when I removed the battery tray I lost the front intake box mount. So you can see there's a little bracket there that's attached to the transmission. Now theoretically the transmission moves with the engine and the drivetrain, and the intake box is relatively firmly bolted to the car. So the upper fastener here, I omitted it, and it just rests in a rubber soft mount on a peg, so it allows some movement. Other than that, nothing really earth-shatteringly fancy, just sort of do what it takes to make it work. So we are down from 2,568 pounds with a half tank of gas to 2,543 pounds, or even a little bit less, with a half tank of gas. Incremental improvements.